Well, singers, it's that time of the year when we start thinking about the upcoming year and what we would like to achieve in the 12 months that lie ahead. So today I want to talk a little bit about setting training and performance goals as singers. For the past couple years on my Facebook page, I've offered some suggestions for setting goals, but this year I want to try doing it in a video format. I believe that it's beneficial and even important for singers and lifelong students of voice to set goals for themselves. And we can include these goals in the list of resolutions that we make that represent our desire to better ourselves, to make learning and growing lifelong activities, or to impact and change the world around us. For singers, goal setting is a powerful process for thinking about and determining what we would like to achieve in life, what we would like to get out of our voice lessons, when and where we would like to perform, how we would like our singing careers to progress, and so forth. Goal setting helps with separating what's relevant from what's a distraction, and with motivating ourselves and building self-confidence based on the successful achievement of smaller incremental goals. Goal setting is not just for those of us who fit the type A personality profile. So here, even though I don't always have it all together and can't seem to accomplish much of what I've set out to do, I offer some life coaching. Take it or leave it. First, I would encourage you to formalize your goals, a little bit like a business plan, to ensure that you're setting out on your 2017 journey with a clear idea of your singing destination in mind. Writing down your goals sort of crystallizes them and gives them more force. There is something more concrete about actually putting pen to paper or fingers to a computer, keyboard, or phone, and being able to see everything on that list and watch the individual items on that to-do list being checked off or crossed off one at a time, then simply sort of mentally composing that list only for it to be forgotten about after a very short while. So plans that are clearly laid out on paper and placed in a visible location tend to be more likely to be followed through with. If you need to, if it helps, create a vision board. Those are great. If you lack a clear sense of vision, your journey will lack a clear path. So your goal should be specific. Vaguely conceived plans such as practice more or improve my singing skills are not specific and clear enough, and they don't usually yield progress that can easily be tracked. Instead, vocalize for at least an hour every day, or audition for the church's worship team, or find a new singing teacher by summer. They provide more specific targets, and by knowing precisely what you'd like to achieve, you'll know where to concentrate your efforts, and you'll more quickly spot the distractions and be able to more easily prioritize. Next, your goal should be action-oriented. Outline the practical steps that you can actively take toward achieving your goals. Dreaming is fun, very fun, but it's not going to get us from point A to point B. And keep the low-level goals that you're working toward small and incremental so that you don't become overwhelmed or feel as though you are not achieving enough. Next, keep your goals attainable and realistic. This will require knowing yourself, your situation, and your voice intimately. Set your goals according to the pace at which you can reasonably progress or accomplish things. Ambition is great, but if your ambition exceeds your ability to actually accomplish your goals, then you're going to be left feeling discouraged, like you're a complete and utter failure. And this is something that I am not so great at these days. Despite being a parent for over a decade now, I still have difficulties adjusting my expectations regarding how much I can reasonably accomplish in a given day, week, month, or year. I still set overly ambitious goals as though I'm single with very few distractions in my life. And despite the fact that I have had this same learning disability all my life, I still somehow expect myself to be able to formulate my thoughts, compile research, and write more quickly than I can in actuality. And I need to work on being a little bit more realistic. Next, your goal should be incremental. It's helpful to start with a long-term goal, such as a 5-year plan, and then break down that large-scale goal into smaller and smaller targets, more manageable goals that you can hit within the next year, month, week, and even today in order to help you reach that long-term goal. And when you've achieved those smaller goals, take some time to enjoy the feeling of satisfaction and reward yourself appropriately. Next, your goal should be relevant. Of course, you can have goals in several areas of your life, such as health and relationships and career. But when we're focusing specifically on goals related to singing, streamline them. Consider weeding out the ideas and the practices that aren't necessary in order to get you where you want to go. Next, your goals should be trackable and measurable. To whatever extent possible, make your goals date-specific, time-bound, so that they need to be accomplished within a certain time frame and then are easy to confirm or verify that you've accomplished them. If your goals aren't specific, action-oriented, attainable, relevant, incremental, and trackable, you're more likely to meander and lack a clear sense of direction and the motivation to stay on track. So hold yourself accountable. Sometimes you need somebody else to hold you accountable, but hold yourself accountable first and foremost. And one of the best ways to hold yourself accountable is to have very specific goals with dates attached to them. One word of caution though, there are some aspects of learning that we can't necessarily achieve on a timetable. Learning doesn't always happen that way. So when you're setting goals, make sure that you're setting performance goals over which you have control, rather than outcome goals, which are often dependent upon many variables or factors that may be beyond your control. For example, you might have control over how much time you set aside for practicing each day, but you might not necessarily have control over whether or not you can, let's say, learn to successfully belt a D5 by February. You might get there, you might be able to achieve it, but maybe not by a certain date on the calendar. And you won't be able to plan for all possible contingencies. There will always be unforeseeable distractions and unavoidable delays, so you should mentally prepare to maintain a degree of flexibility and allow yourself some self-forgiveness without losing your focus or determination, and don't get so hard on yourself. It might seem really unimportant, but express your goals positively. Positive language tends to be far more motivating than goals that are framed negatively, such as don't do such and such or stop doing this or that. Before I go, I don't really know you or what your goals are or where you are at with your training or your career, but I do want to give you a few ideas that you might include in your list of goals. One is plans for practicing, which might include a schedule or the amount of time that you plan to spend vocalizing each day, or maybe even completing a self-study program. Another is a song that you would like to master, so that if you're ever called upon to sing on the spot, or if, let's say, an audition comes up on really short notice and there's really little time to prepare for it, you'll have at least one song in your repertoire that you know very, very well and can sing impressively and confidently. You may also wish to include things like plans for actively overcoming your fears or mental hurdles and the specific steps that you plan to take in order to overcome them. This might include overcoming, let's say, stage fright through counseling or taking baby steps such as sharing a short clip of your singing with friends or family. This might include just putting yourself out there and taking a risk, taking a chance by posting a video of a cover on YouTube or singing in front of family members or joining a choir, participating in a studio recital or an open mic night. You may also want to include things like removing other hindrances and obstacles that stand in the way of your progress, such as getting symptoms of health problems such as gastrointestinal reflux disease or asthma under control. When they're not under control, they can stand in the way of your progress and therefore reaching your singing goals. And you also may want to eliminate or minimize life distractions. I don't know, maybe you're a gamer, but spending hours a day playing games is robbing you of precious vocalizing time. And maybe that means carving out a space for yourself where you can practice without distraction, without your phone, without the kids constantly needing your attention or asking you for something. And then any other relevant skills that might further your vocal development or singing career, such as maybe learning how to play a musical instrument, taking a songwriting course, or learning how to harmonize or sight read. You may also want to include things like venues that you wish to sing at, which may require putting together a promotional package, including a studio demo. So that takes a little bit of planning in advance. maybe choirs or singing groups or musical theater productions that you would like to audition for or join. And then finally we have the other category, the miscellaneous category. And this just might include anything like recording some songs or joining a band, starting lessons, attending a master class, starting a YouTube channel on which you post videos of some song covers or originals, whatever is relevant and will keep you moving towards your goals. Now, periodically review your plans and modify them to reflect your changing priorities and growing knowledge and experience. But, this is a big but, don't just keep pushing back the deadlines. That just defeats the whole purpose of setting concrete goals. And this is one of those cases where I need to sort of practice what I preach. I am guilty of being too ambitious and unrealistic in terms of what I can reasonably accomplish within a given time frame, given my busy, crazy, distraction-filled lifestyle. And then I get really, really down on myself for failing to reach my goals. But this year, I am going to try to find a pace that works with my lifestyle. And finally, I just want to let you know that I am here to support and encourage you in any capacity that I can, whether that's as a resource for information, a teacher, a colleague, or a life coach. So may your 2017 be a productive and rewarding one.